Hello YouTube, how are you? ¿Cómo están? I hope you guys are doing well. Ojalá que estén bien. Bienvenidos al canal. Welcome to the stream. I just ate a hot dog. I don't know what else to say. That's you'll see the hot dog emote. I had to eat a hot dog. It was like an awkward couple of minutes for me because I had to go ahead and like quickly eat it and get ready for it. But I do want to go to say, I hope you guys are practicing some self-care. I hope you guys are going through it. Hello, Being X. We're getting really close to the end of Tanya. I think we only have four or three more episodes left, and I'm kind of excited to see where this is going to go. It's been escalating every single time. It's been getting like more, I guess if you want to be honest, more trauma. We can see our main character here, Tanya, go through like quicker and quicker decision making because she's like even articles that she wrote in terms of tactics, they're now using it from her. Guys, hey, I have a homework assignment. There's gonna be a new thread out there. Your homework assignment for this, right, is, well, aside from hitting like and subscribe and all of that whistles and following if you're lurking on this channel, hey, make sure at least for today you clean at least 3 items from your room, guys. For this particular, while we're watching this, grab 3 pieces of trash around you and throw it away. If you guys do that, you know, throw up a Dorito chip sometime in the chat. We'll go ahead and keep it in there. That is your guys' assignment by the end of this episode. Just 3 pieces of trash. Just throw it away while we're watching this. If you're in the hospital room, you can at least practice some self-care and be a little bit better. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we go ahead and my trash collection agency's on strike. Why don't we go ahead and jump straight into it? Yeah.
ハレー主では自国民保護の大義を守り、直接的排除対象は敵魔同士に徹底した。未だ私のお手手は真っ白のはず。
失礼する。久しぶりだな、デグレチャフ少佐。
少佐殿、ご送検で何よりです。
機関も送検そうで何よりだ。
確か今は陸軍鉄道部に。
ああ、こちらでも機関の活躍は聞いている。それよりこれから参謀本部へ。
ええ、少佐殿も同じでしょうか。
最近はほとんどゼートゥーア閣下の使い走りだな。
鉄道部が大忙しということは大きな作戦でも何かご存知のようですね。
Packs himself into the bin.
以前に後方勤務を進めてもらった恩義もあることだ。現在、鉄道部には緊急戦域輸送の計画が求められている。作戦局はライン戦線を大きく引っ込める腹らしい。
戦線を交代？ここまで押し返しておきながらですか？
その通り。敵の主力を引き込み、徹底的に叩く算段らしい。
This might be an incredibly smart plan or an incredibly risky plan. Hold on. Let me see. Do I have paint? Fuck it, guys. You guys are getting some. Let me see if I understand this correctly, right? So we're gonna go ahead and fuck, not like that. Sorry, this is so we're gonna go ahead and do something like this, right? Tactician ed time, right? Fuck it, we'll move it like this, right? Big chunky one right here. Sorry guys, I know. Not the greatest artiste per se, right? Hold on. Here we go. Strategic command. Yeah. Strategic command. Okay. So, if we have a scenario in which, say, this army has been traveling along for a good while, right? And Tanya's army has captured this city and has pushed the enemy team, the enemy rectangle, all the way back, right? What happens if they completely ransack a city or ransack everything along, burn crops and whatnot, and then flee back and leave everything there, right? Or just enough to make it seem as though they left the city there as bait. If these individuals were to like, we're gonna go ahead and come in here, right? Imagine. Well, hold on. I gotta represent this using a square. Sorry. They come in here and they're like, yeah, this is totally fine. Okay, that's cool and all. But what happens the moment that, you know, these guys start pushing forward now that they're in here and they're trying to go ahead and, like, you know, defend the city, and they send someone behind enemy lines? They can't go forward because it's scorched earth. They can't go back because now they're gonna be attacked. That's sort of what I'm understanding out of this. I.e., if they're backing away from already having a distinct line, right? If they already had this, like, set, you would think that the line that they're going to go ahead and form would be somewhere over here as a defense line, right? This is it. This is their defense. This is a fucked up geometry line. The fact that they backed up their defense past, or, like, you know, somewhere over here, they can easily send someone behind and then just squish them in the middle. That feels like a very Tanya-esque tactic. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is little kiddish, but this is literally like just a quick representation of like how my mind is putting like what possible tactics can be used for a scenario like this, or what Evil Ed would do in a scenario like this, in order to try and go ahead and get that. I know, right? So bright. We all got flashbanged in order to go ahead and get the upper hand here, right? Either that or corral them into a city, then just blow them all up. But this is before the big fight that happened in the city. Yo, can we see you draw this out in the sandbox for better visuals? Is there a sandbox? You send me the link, bro. Anyway. Main unit and destroy them, yeah.
なるほど。ボナパルトのアウステルリッツか、あるいは関寧におけるハンニバルというわけか。いやはや驚きました。ライン戦線ほどの規模で包囲殲滅戦とは。大胆ですが面白い発想です。
まったくだ。上は何としても共和国との戦争にケリをつけたいらしいな。
しかし、どのように敵の方よ？
詳しくは知らされておらんが、機関の隊が後退を悟らせないための伝軍に回されるらしい。
Which fair. This is going to be a weird question coming from a psychologist, I guess, right? But do you think that Tanya, because mentally he has the mentality of this like guy that was isekai, right? But he's in the body of this young kid. How old is Tanya again? What is she, like 10, 11? 12, maybe? 9? Because, yeah, around that. I'm I think 12. How do you think he genuinely feels in this body? Has he gotten adjusted to it? Do you think he's starting to... I forgot. How do you think he starts to revolve around that body, right? Like, has he gotten adjusted to that body, per se? Or does he see himself as the guy that, like, was isekai into this body, right? Or reincarnated into this body? Do you think that, like, the hormones of, like, a growing and developing kid from a growing and developing kid would start to influence some decisions, including developing feelings for others? You know, it doesn't have to be a guy, it can be a girl, it can be anyone in between, you know? So I'm kind of curious, like, because all we see is the militant version of Tanya, but I'm also like, the biological version and psychological version of Tanya also has piqued my interest. Because I'm like, yes, you can maintain a facade for so long, but your body is also going to start pushing for certain things, right? Might not necessarily be 100% in the sexual nature, right? But it can just be like developmentally, right? So that's why I'm like, huh, okay, well, like if this show would continue on to later on years, does that play an effect in it, or do they want to go ahead and just keep Tanya in this age?
しんがりですか。
これまで以上の厳しい戦いになるはずだ。参謀本部に到着すれば望むものは用意してくれるだろ
う。アレーヌ市の一件で鉄道網が傷つき、前線への補給状況は困窮。現状での全面攻勢は持続不可能かと。
協商連合同様、どこかに上陸作戦を仕掛けるという構想は。
連合王国の対応が問題だ。一応の中立を掲げてはいるが、領海を突破されるとなれば黙ってはいまい。となると、やはり時間が。
多少の消耗はやむなしかと。
Yeah, yeah.
パラダイムシフトが必要でしょう。我々が直面しているのは歴史が始まって以来の。
Oh, there we go. They finally. They finally name dropped it, guys. It's the First World War. Let's
敵の城
go.
に攻め入って城下の誓いを結ばせるといった戦前のドクトリンは実現性が乏しすぎます。
ではどのように勝利を？
勝利ではなく敗北を避け
True.
これ以外に最後まで立っているのは困難かと。
J2 は順書。つまり機関も構成案には反対というわけかね。
いえ、積極的な行
Oh,
動
I'm
につい
not.
ては支持いたします。ただし、その目的は突破ではありません。
というと？
できるだけ多くの敵兵を徹底して叩き、敵の戦争継続能力を粉砕する。それが戦争終結への唯一の道です。
具体案はあるのかね？
すでに作戦局が敵主力軍の撃滅計画を立案済みです。
この状況で決戦を本気か？無謀では。
Well, I mean, for me, listening into this, right? Because it's always interesting to see, like, in the upper echelons, especially back in the day, there was always plotting and conniving and, you know, people trying to up one another in certain regimes in certain instances because, oh, this person's starting to stand out. I don't want him to be in a position of power. Oh, Eldra's brought in the tactical, the tactical elements of something, right? And he like Lord Kraith is taking Eldras under his wing, and I don't want that. I'm gonna go ahead and like eliminate Eldras, you know, and make sure his plan fails. I'm surprised there's not a lot of like, you know, granted it is for the betterment of the country, but at the same time, or for their country, at the same time there was still a lot of like political moves that were always happening behind the scenes. That's why I'm interested to see what element of randomness is introduced into this, other than like them being the perfect soldiers, right? Or them actually trying to follow through as, yeah, Central Command is really well organized. Yeah, that's why I'm like,
本計画における第一作戦は戦線の大規模交代による敵の誘引、その後の作戦への布石であります。我々は前に進まねばなりません。いわば前方への脱出こそ最良の解決策であると確信いたします。
true. Actually, true, Luster. Damn, dude. Guns. Bruh. Enemy girl with the gun. Oh, don't tell me cute waifu is down. All right, let's take that into consideration, guys. How do you build resilience, or how does your resilience or empathy meter keep building up, right? And I don't just mean resilience in terms of like mental health. I mean quite literally resilience to stress, resilience to pretty much anything, right? In situations, it might be putting yourself in environments and situations where your fight or flight is activated, you know, where your anxiety is tested a little bit more, right? So, for example, if you're socially anxious, how do you build your resilience to be able to pop back in and keep trying to go ahead and like become a little bit more into conversations with others, right? Or having a full-on conversation with others, going from just a glance, a look, smiling, all of these things, right? So what I'm thinking about for these particular individuals is imagine being put in a scenario like this, right? Where you've been sent in time and time and time and time again. aside from them diverting their stress and probably going through a lot of trauma, because let's be honest, guns and whatnot coming at you, do you think that them being in that war zone, it takes longer for them to hit that fight or flight activation for them? Do you think that they're calmer, in a calmer state of mind, the more that they are in the war versus, like, say, previous times? And by that, I also mean, do you think it would take a lot longer for someone to actually experience what is known as like crisis trauma, right? Than what they would consider crisis trauma at the very beginning? I wonder, do they have trouble in normal society? And that's the thing. TLC is like reintroduction of individuals, right? Say from the services back into society without proper supports. It often can go pretty bad. Like it's pretty rough, man. It's a whole nother world out there. From being needed, from having to pull an objective, from having routines and goals and everything set up for you, to all of a sudden coming back into civilian life where none of that is really present. It's quite difficult. It's quite a difficult transition. I can imagine that, but probably also dependent on the individual. Absolutely. Well, everyone's a little bit different, but if we're talking as a whole, right? For example, Luster, for yourself, what does resiliency look like? And for all of you guys in YouTube, what would resiliency look like in a time period of your life where you've expanded, say, your empathy, your ability to deal with certain stress, and also what has a crisis moment look like? And the you that you are now, can you handle stress the same way that you did before, or better, or worse? More than likely, you're running on things like adrenaline, and forming those trauma bonds with your brothers in arms can make really hard to reintegrate. Absolutely, Sagas. Absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't take into consideration, like, the trauma bonding that does happen, because it's not just a scenario, an everyday scenario. You are bonding with those individuals that are willing to give their life for you, and you for them. And you're experiencing similar things out there. So, ooh, ooh. Sorry, guys. Anyway.
何本気かここで中止しては欺瞞行動の意図が露呈しかねん戦線交代を敵に気づかれるわけにはいかない以上続行する了解したできる限り急がせる期間内に神のご加護神のご加護か
Bruh.
ザイ X の忌々しい顔が目に
Thanks so much for the hydrate. Also, yeah, thanks so much for the hydrate, Luster. I was gonna say something, but I was like, I'll hold on to it. True, Neko. True.
間もなく交代の所定位置に到着。敵の追撃部隊は見えない。こちらの大規模攻勢を信じきっているようだ。おい、しっかりしろ。砲台が足りんぞ。衛星魔導士はまだか。腹が。注意、タイヤねん注意。
グランツ少尉、座学の成績は？部隊内での行為の責任は全て部隊の指揮官にあるって将校課程で習わなかった？法学の授業で。
一応習った気はします。
So how do you guys feel about that? Hold on, because that's regarding the question. I have a tendency to resolve the situation on the outside, but will drive myself wildly crazy again afterwards. Yeah, I mean, we all use different defense mechanisms in order to deal with some of the stressors in our life, like in many different ways and forms. But let me follow up with this question towards everyone out there. Do you think that a justification like that, because for example, in the Milgram experiment, right, and even in World War II, which is a big thing that started to come from that, it's like, oh yeah, I only did it because my commanding officer told me to, right? Which comes into question, like, but you also had the ability to say no, which came from the Milgram experiment, which is like individuals in a position under, right? Which is why whenever I talk about power dynamics and Bochi and any of the other animes out there, I reference this because it's really, really important. Like, whenever you're in a situation with the power dynamic under someone, you're more than likely to follow through with whatever they're saying. You're more than likely to take their word as law and follow through with the situation. and like literally oftentimes even divert or like, you know, project your emotions elsewhere until you're ready to deal with that. Some people are able to go ahead and shut off and just like, you know, shut off their like, not even, I wouldn't even say empathy, but their ability to go ahead and like judge whether what they're doing is right or wrong and just follow through with orders, right? At times in history, that was generally accepted, but that was shown to be wrong ultimately in the Nuremberg trials. I was just following orders does not work. Yep, absolutely, Sagas. Which is why I bring it up, like as a question for you guys. Do you think you would have difficulties, for example, if you guys are working or you guys are in school or whatnot, and your teacher gives you an assignment that you're not comfortable with, or that you have to like, but you have to do, otherwise you're gonna fail. Otherwise, people are just gonna look at you weird, and if you're in a program where they can kick you out, you might get kicked out. Are you guys comfortable going against the tide or not? In a realistic setting, I'll be honest. I don't know. I don't know. I think if I have a supervisor or an individual on top of me that says, "Hey, you know, we have to do certain things," or like it's my interventions or no interventions, right? And I'm like, it's is it gonna cost me my job? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. Peer pressure is one hell of a drug, but at the same time, it's like the schema, the stigma, the way that the like culture is developed, especially inside of a regimented unit, where you know you got to do what you got to do, and I'm pretty sure other people are gonna state that. I think I would put it off until the last day, bro.
少佐殿はアレーヌ氏の戦闘で命令であることを強調された。
もう一度だ
Schema
け
into Sigma.
これは上からの命令だ。
指揮官は自分。だから部下が責任を負う必要はない。
Absolutely,
ひょっ
Sagas.
としたらそんな意図があったのかもね。
まさかセレブリャコーフ少尉に慰められるとは思いませんでしたよ。
は？何それ？
Isn't this a scene like someone's literally think about these moments. Someone's literally like in pain, probably dying over here, and they're over here having a moment. In this moment, like, you know, this guy might be dying out of pain and like, you know, yelling and doing big loud noises and whatnot, but they're able to block that out. Yeah, and the thing is, we block like through trauma. If we're in a situation like this, guess what? It happens all the time. And sadly, it happens all the time. Yeah, you got to find some light in a bleak scenario. If you're in a loud environment, right? Guess what? If you ever take the time to, like, you know, say if there's music, you're in a club, a bar, or whatever, right? There's music pumping, and you're with your friends. You guys might be laughing, right? But if like the girl next to you might be crying or a guy next to you because they just went through a really bad breakup. But what you're selectively listening into are the groups of people that you're in, right? So you're trying to go ahead and like either number one, fit the environment that you're in, and number two, if you catch a vibe, you catch a vibe. It's the best way to put it, right? That's what propinquity is. That's why I'm like, huh. It's interesting that they're able to go ahead and have this laughter, some kind of coping mechanism or escapism to reduce the strain of trauma. It is. It's actually, whenever there's like trauma therapy, in case you guys ever encounter like an individual who's like specialized in trauma therapy, that's like one of the big things that they'll go ahead and say is, for example, for you guys, right? And it's a defense mechanism. It's also sublimation as to like the events, as to what may be happening, right? How many of you guys, when you're hurt, you laugh instead of crying, or you do another emotion instead of showing the appropriate emotion? Guess what? That's a coping mechanism. That's a way of like not necessarily dealing with the problem that your body's not really adjusting. On one hand, you might be feeling physically sad. On the other hand, you're laughing because you genuinely find it funny, whatever the situation might be. Or you might be, you know, your body, you know, you might tense up, but you might have a dorky smile on your face. You know, you can have two different emotions like running through you in a scenario like this, but it just shows that our mind and our body aren't necessarily aligned. Why don't just feel empty instead of sad? But that depends, Lester. For example, if you are feeling empty, is the empty accompanied by sadness? Is the void that you're feeling accompanied by feelings of sadness and depression? Or is it often that you have to wear a mask of happiness around others? where does that correlate for yourself, right? And these are questions that, like, you know, for example, have to be asked. And I think I'll give another homework assignment in a bit. This is interesting.
第一作戦は無事完了。すべては機関の隊のおかげだ。参謀本部を代表し、改めて礼を言おう。
身に余るお言葉感謝いたします。そんな中恐縮ですが、一つお尋ねしたいことがありまして。
何か。
現在我が軍は第三国を通じて偽のプロパガンダを流布しているそうですね。
さすがに耳が早いな。
You hear things fast.
我々はアレーヌ市のごたごたで補給線が崩壊。もはや前線維持も危ぶまれる状況の中、無謀な大規模攻勢を計画していると。それを信じた共和国軍は兵力を集中させるでしょう。その主力軍を引き込んで包囲殲滅するには、敵兵の統制を乱し混乱させる必要があるのでは？
ノルデンの時と同じか。まったく機関という存在は新たな作戦の指示書だ。
拝見いたします。
第二作戦名は衝撃と威風。
Shock and awe.
その内容は敵司令部を直接叩く衝撃によって敵を混乱に導くことにある。
やはり敵主力の幽閉化を。
いかにも。
なるほど。戦略レベルでは大いに道理かと。ですが、敵の司令部を容易に叩けるならば、そもそもライン戦線は膠着などしないはずでは。
確かにその通りだな。
では、
The world's first
第二
special
作戦
forces,
成
yep.
功のためには、常識を超えた新たな戦術が必要。
Oh God, he's here. Oh God.
ドクトル・シャーゲル。
Oh God, he came in and instantly my anxiety started spiking. I was like, oh no, not this guy, please. Oh, this guy always brings good news, doesn't he? Apparently. Luster says, well, to use an example, my God, I only felt uncomfortable when it was unclear whether he would survive or not, and then I just felt nothing and not sad. Luster, here's my question for you. Did you start feeling sad afterwards? Not necessarily when he died, but do you have memories and you reflect back on it? Because it might be that because you felt uncomfortable that you just, like, your body represses it, right? Yeah, because, like, if you're, like, for example, I'm a crier, dude. You guys have seen me cry in every anime and every, like, you know, ReZero, Moshiko Tensei, whatever, right? But we all deal with grief differently. And so that's a big question that I have for you is, did you have the opportunity to, like, later on down the road after he passed away to feel those emotions? And if you didn't, why do you think that is? Because that's a big thing, dude. That's not just like you know, like something easy. And are you a big crier, if that, or how do you show your emotions? It was the uncertainty. What was the uncertainty sort of like what ended up causing you to feel unlike, you know, those mixed emotions, and then when you had that clarity, you came to peace with it, and that's why you felt nothing, you know? There's a lot of mixed questions that you can throw in there. I used to cry all the time as a kid, but now I find it hard to cry even when I really, really want to. I got an ad even with ad block. That's weird. Finfran, now my question for you is, if you used to cry all the time as a kid, but now as an adult, you find it really hard to cry? Do you still have the feeling to cry as an adult, right? Or is it just because, for example, your tolerance for crying, for genuinely like shedding tears, has gotten like longer, right? Because of, say, trauma, because of stuff that may have happened in your past or whatever, that you've cried so much that your body, like, biologically won't reach that point until you reach the threshold, you know? I know, Twitch, man, Twitch. Saga, Tanya the Evil.
何なのだ、これは。
私が開発した強行偵察用の特殊追
Is she about to Metal Gear this shit? Developed for Force Recon. That's a thought. Ugh. Is she about... Oh, she's about to Metal Gear this shit, isn't she? I remember when you predicted this, Ed? Oh, guys, I was just going off of like, yeah, oh, God. She is. Oh no. Oh no. If you Luster, for yourself, question for you then.
I predicted all of this, you know. All of it.
I mean, everything is Metal Gear. Shadow, Tanya, Raiden, ride the missile, Snake inside his little like thing when he's going into Shadow Moses Island, you know, or like when he's dropping like Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 3, you know, like dude, this is pretty good. Pretty good stuff. But Metal Gear is Metal Gear. If you only cry to games and anime and other entertainment, Luster, do you ever cry with individuals or with people around, or do you find it hard to relate to them? Because that's a big thing.
追加加速装置秘匿故障 V1 だよ。
迎撃不可能な高高度を追尾不能な速度で飛翔する新型の偵察機材だ。この V1 で敵防衛線を飛び越え司令部を強襲してもらう。
いつの間にこんなもの。
Z2 は閣下の要請で進めていた。
Bruh.
重防御陣地を突破する新装備の開発を技術省へ要求し、
どこかの狂信的な科学者が予想以上のものを作り上げたわけですか。
まだ性能テストの段階だったが、共和国との決戦を前に定律量産型が間に合ったことはまさに
福音。福音としか言いようがないであろう。見たまえ、この大型ブースターをヒドラジン燃料を使用する特注品を5機も搭載しておるのだぞ。
ドクトル、大きさと数を誇るのは結構ですが、速度や方向の調整はできるのでしょうか。
But you can adjust your speed and direction.
そんなものは必要ない。ただまっすぐ飛べばよい。ただまっすぐ進み続ければよいのだ。
What if you overshoot it
そ
though?
の顔、ブースターが重すぎるのではないかと心配しているのだな。案ずるな。心配はいらん。俺らの噴射口は空になった燃料タンクと切り離すことが可能。機体を
When will they revive the magical Metal Gear?
最終的な速度がさらに高まるのだ。その最高速度はマッハ 1.5。 人類史上初の超音速によって一切合切を振り切るのだ。
音速を超えたことによる増波効力の急増や衝撃波の対策は。
空力弾性
Pretty good,
による
Rick.
振動や衝撃は魔導士の防角で対処できるはずだ。できるであろう。
Bro, imagine that, dude. Like, no one's ever gone Mach 1, right? Now imagine someone just fucking breaking the sound barrier in front of you. Just, I'd be like, all right, game. That's game. Oh.
できなければおかしい。
まさしく天才だな。
天の災いです。
Sounds good, Luster. Appreciate you.
片道切符で地獄行きの代物ですよ。
You just crash it, I think, right? I'm going home. Fuck this. Appreciate it, Luster. Yep.
反応ありません。やはり完全に撤退したようです。了解。司令部につなぐ。ライン方面司令部より戦線左翼に展開中の全部隊に次ぐ。ロール低地における帝国軍の撤退を確認。原告をもって主力部隊の前進を開始せよ。
This looks like the Netherlands. I'm not even gonna lie, dude. Quite literally looks like the Netherlands. Like this little piece right here. What is this? Germany? Did we have like, yeah? We only have, oh no, my homies are fucked. The lowlands. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Sorry, it took a little bit to put. When people die, they're killed. They get isekais apparently.
了解。全体進め。
Just flood him, dude. Very recognizable country ship. Oh yeah.
右翼については依然として停滞中でありますが、左翼さえ突破すれば帝国軍も音を上げるでしょう。
これでケリがつくわけか。
ええ、私もアレーヌでの借りを返したいところですが、当分はタバコ倹約でして。
暇な右翼にでも渡してやれ。
Distribute them? Hey.
戦勝記念の祝杯分は残しておけよ。
My dude got too cocky with it, dude. I wouldn't just be like, hey, yo, liquor for everyone. I'd be like, hey, wait a minute. Yo, I've got to say no more. Fit. Say no more, brother. Say no more.
グランツ少尉。
ワイス中尉殿。
落ち着け少尉。さすがにみっともないぞ。
すみません、中尉。
まあ、気持ちはわかる。自分も正直落ち着かないよ。
さて、選抜中隊の諸君、言葉を飾らずに言えば、今回の任務は人間ロケットで敵司令部に突っ込めというわけだ。機関ら11名の中にロケットでの投射を楽しめる者は数少ないと思われるが、やるしかない。やるしかないのであれば成功させねばならない。事前情報を元にした襲撃。
And that's it. Hold on. And that's if 11 of you make it, dude. Because what happens if like some of those rockets start exploding because you're unstable? It's like the first time using them. Then you have less of a force to go through and do something, you know? Like,
いずれかが敵のライン方面司令部と目される。ここを刈り取ってしまえば頭のない軍隊など外周一色だ。つまり明日の作戦こそが戦争を終わらせる一撃だ。我々は全軍の先鋒たるぞ。
rocket jump.
落ち着いていられる軍人など帝国はおろか。世界のどこにも。
She's like, whatever. This has happened too many times before.
すでに共和国軍主力は前進を開始。西方の重工業地帯を射程圏内に収めるのも時間の問題かと。
第二作戦、敵司令部強襲の準備は整った。次なる作戦状況は
前線左翼にて最終作業中とのこと。目標地点への設置も完了し、明日にも決行できるとの報告です。
すでにルビコンは超えた。あとはデグレチャフ少佐にかかっているわけか。
Big ditch when bombing started too. True. Absolutely true.
黙って食事とは存外緊張しているらしいな。
お前は緊張と無縁かと思っていたが。
お互い様だろう。私こそお前が緊張するということに驚いている。
So would you guys give up hope in a scenario like this? They're telling you when important leaders even if they were like, hey, Luster Candy, Reek Week, TLC, Foronoda, FinFran, Sagas, 11 of you guys, I'm selecting you guys and throwing you to the back lines. Would you guys say your goodbyes, or would you guys think that, hey, you know what, we're gonna make it back? What is your attitude going into a special mission like this? Knowing that, like, hey, you are literally in, like, the spider's nest in that situation. Like, I would get my affairs in order. Guess it is what it is. Probably not tell anyone. Hey, yo, no. I'd go nuclear. I'd probably try to escape, not gonna lie. YouTube, what about you guys yourself? What would you do in a scenario like this, where you're put in a scenario with 11 others and you don't know if you're gonna return or not? Always thought Bishop felt completely out of place, both character-wise and design-wise. Yet somehow she absolutely works both ways. Yep. Pick a god and pray.
祖国の命運をかけた計画だ。敵の頭を刈り取り損ねれば残りの作戦もご破算だ。
前に出るしか帝国に活路はない。いな、前進するしか道はないのだ。祖国の前に立ちふさがる者は全て打ち破ってみせよう。友よ、帝国に勝利を。
勝利を。
Snake.
ヒドラジン燃料の充填確認。
射程及び投射角度の調整よし。
全装置正常に起動。
各機最終準備に入りたまえ。
安全装置解除。
Oh shit, here we
投射
go.
準備完了しました。
Snake.
作業員退避。
Your mission is a covert op. You're gonna be sneaking into the enemy headquarters. You know, watch out. They also have a special foxhound unit after you. start giving a bunch of like, you know, colonel responses here.
人力誘導式分身だ。秘匿故障 V1 による魔導中隊の投射を行う。
Remember the basics of secrecy. This totally looks like it, dude.
戦友諸君、私は神ではなく
Cross the
参謀
grass.
本部を
And a pack of Lunchables. Colonel, they have a flying lowly.
この戦い、勝ちに行くぞ。煉獄であろうと赴き征服することこそ帝国軍人の本務。番犬は優秀であるということを教えてやれ。
前期発進。
Here we go. Rocket time. My dude just saluting them. Godspeed. Guys, Doritos in the chat for Tanya. Hope to make it.
X のせいだ。あのクソ誰に市場原理を叩き込むまでは何があろうと死ぬわけにはいかない。生きて絶対に終わらせる。各員非魔導依存効果だ。ドアのカブリ。
Oh shit. Snake, pull your parachute out. And she does it the moment I said it. I was like, Snake, pull your parachute out. Boom. Hey, yo. This is an infiltration mission, guys. We gotta be sneaky. Hold on. Tanya is basically the nuke. I'd assume so. This is awesome, though. This is legit. Like, I'm excited now. I also can't believe this came true. I was just thinking about, like, tactician-wise, what is something that I would bring in or I would talk about with others in the past. And capture all of the monkeys. That's why I'm like, dude, this show repeatedly, time after time after time again, like, steps up to the plate and does something amazing with it. Like, it just continues forward. A sure tactician wizard. No, it's basic, like, you know, at least like basic psychology and tactics, I guess, right? All right, guys. What I do want to go ahead and state what this is. Watching this show, there's something interesting that every character is in their own world. One of them are being a normal soldier, one of them being a commander. We have Tanya being Tanya, right? We also have the other person that, like, just a sleeping around, normal person that thinks through it. It's like things that shouldn't work but work wonderfully in this scenario. This show just embraces the insanity and goes with it. Absolutely. All right, guys, let's listen to the ending. This is for me. This is a show that, like, makes it, dude. It works with what it's got, and it's like you're gonna be invested because there's guns, there's cool shit, and there's actually some deep conversation topics in here. All right, let's go. Make it pickle. Records of Ragnarok. Ooh, what's that? Ooh, okay, we get extra. Hold on.
親愛なるツイーテナイカタイヤネン順位のご家族様。この度誠に残念ながらタイヤネン順位の小位体液をご報告させていただきます。
Due to injuries?
彼は軍医の診断によって長期の療養が必要と判断されました。お預かりしたお子様をこのような形でしかお返しできないことをご容赦ください。わずかばかりの慰めになることを願って召喚の名で一級や戦従軍章と少尉メダルを申請し認められました。
Hey.
彼の闘病と回復を記念しております。まさか腐ったじゃがいもで部下を失うことになるとは。
To a rotten potato. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. Well, yeah, I mean food will fuck. Dude, if it was Taco Bell, I'm not gonna lie, man. Hey, yo, if it was Taco Bell, I would have. Oof, my stomach, dude. Yeah, I don't think I would have survived in the battlefield. Potato strikes again. Oh. What a good show, man. What a good show, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it with us. Practice some self-care, YouTube, and we'll see you guys next time. Stay safe.